Welcome to my video or my presentation about the comparison of financial ratios between Audi and BMW. Both are German car companies, and me personally, I drive an Audi, so I thought that would be a good competitor against BMW to compare financial ratios. First, we start with the financial ratios of Audi in the years between 2024 and 2021. We have the return on equity, we have the return on equity, the return on assets, the equity ratio, debt to equity ratio, the current ratio, the EBIT margin, and the net profit margin. And overall, you can say that Audi has a pretty good revolution between these years. So the return on equity has risen significantly. The return on assets have also risen. The equity ratio improved. The debt to equity ratio also improved. With 1.6 in 2021 and 1.35 in 2024. The current ratio improved, the EBIT margin improved, and the net profit margin also improved. So overall, we could say that the last couple of years were pretty successful for Audi, and now we will see how it did for BMW. So we have the same financial ratios: the return on equity, the return on assets, the equity ratio, the debt to equity ratio, the current ratio, the EBIT margin, and the net profit margin. But we have to see that between 2024 and 2021, BMW clearly did not perform as well as Audi. So we start with the return on equity, which went from 15.19% down to 7.29%. Same with the return on assets, almost just half as much as in 2021. The equity ratio sank. One good thing is that the debt to equity ratio has improved from 1.39% in 2021 to 0.93 in 2024. The current ratio also improved a bit. The EBIT margin sank, and net profit margin sank. So overall, we could say that the last couple of years were not that successful for Audi. And now to the final comparison between those two. Who wins, Audi or BMW? We could clearly see a trend here. On the return on equity, Audi clearly performed way better with almost double as much return on equity as compared to BMW. Same with the return on assets. The equity ratio is also clearly better. Only thing is that the debt to equity ratio was in favor of BMW with 0.93%, 0.93. Also, the current ratio was better for Audi. The EBIT margin is better for Audi, and the net profit margin is better for Audi. So overall, finally, we could say that Audi has better financial ratios, so eventually is a better company, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Audi makes better cars than BMW. That is a personal preference, and this is not what this presentation is about. Thank you for your attention.